Hey guys, we're going to go ahead and do our next lesson, which is on dividing a fraction by a fraction. Now, we did do a review of how to multiply a fraction by a fraction because we're going to actually use multiplication to do our division. Sounds a little wacky, but it's going to work. So here's our first problem. I've got 3/4 divided by 1/8. Okay? Now, I'm going to rewrite this as 3/4. No changes to our first term. We always keep the first term the same. However, now I'm going to say times. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the reciprocal of my second term, which in this case is going to be 8 because I'm just going to flip the fraction around. So instead of 1/8, it's going to be 8/1. And then you just multiply across and you'll get your answer. Now, when we did our review for multiplication, we did talk about cross reduction. So let's take a look and see if we can reduce this in any way before we actually do our multiplication to make it a little easier. Okay? Well, we've got 3 and 1. There's no way to change those or reduce those. So we're going to keep the 3 the same, the 1 the same. We've got a 4 and an 8. Okay? 4 and 8, our greatest common factor between those two guys is 4. So I'm going to change this 4 to a 1. Now I'm going to change this 8 to a 2. And then I'm going to multiply across. 3 times 2 is 6. And then I've got 1 times 1 is 1. So my answer is 6. Okay? Now let's go ahead and take a look at the tiles and see if this really is true. Okay? Alright, so we're going to go ahead and try to prove that multiplying by a reciprocal will help us to divide a fraction by a fraction. So our problem was 3/4 divided by 1/8. So I'm going to go ahead and use my tiles. I'll put 4/4 up just because, even though we're only going to be dealing with 3/4, I always like to start with a whole. Okay, so there is my 4/4, and again I'm only looking at 3/4. Now I'm dividing it by 1/8. So I want to see how many 1/8 I can fit in 3/4. And as you can see, I can fit 6 1/8 in my 3/4. So 3/4 divided by 1/8, when you make it 3/4 times 8, gives you 6. So the tiles here show that multiplying by your reciprocal will in fact give you the correct answer.